are times in almost everyone's life when we hurt someone we love and we ask for forgiveness.
But forgiving is not easy. So one of our pals, Rabbi Steve Leder, has a 4-step plan to help you get through it. He's the author of a beautiful book.
Yeah.
It's called More Beautiful Than Before, How Suffering Transforms. That's one of my favorite
Yeah, we were so touched by that when you came on.
He is also the senior rabbi at Wilshire Boulevard Temple in L.A., which is beautiful. And twice Time Magazine has called you the most influential rabbi, a group of 10. You are one of the 10 most influential rabbis in America.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
That's pretty wonderful.
Welcome back.
Very honored to be here.
Forgiveness is one of those things where I think if we all closed our eyes and thought about somebody, most people could probably think of somebody who they haven't forgiven. And how do you start taking the first steps?
Because you say there are 4.
Yeah.
Well, let's begin with the fact that every human being is in one of 3 states of being, either has done, is doing, or will do something incredibly foolish and hurtful to another human being, right? And we're all going to seek and want forgiveness.
Yeah.
And how is it that we would seek something for ourselves that we wouldn't grant to another?
Happens every day,
Right?
all day long.
So this forgiveness is so important. I don't think a single marriage could survive. I don't think a single kid would make it through their teen years without it.
Yeah, friendship.
Siblings, friendships. Without forgiveness, love dies.
Yeah.
And there's a
Forgiveness
difference,
is
you
the
say.
breath of love itself. And so we have to find this path to earn, to merit forgiveness, and then to find it within our hearts to be able to grant that forgiveness.
And you say that that's a very different thing than forgetting.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, often when people come to see me and say, you know, I just can't forgive him.
Yeah.
You have no idea how he hurt me. You have no idea what she said. What they're really saying, I've learned, is not that they can't forgive, but they can't forget. And people confuse these two things. Forgiveness is not amnesia. Yeah. It is impossible to forget the hurt, but it is possible, assuming the person has gone through these 4 steps we're going to talk about, it is possible to forgive. It's not possible to forget, and I don't think forgetting should be the goal.
Look, I've been with somebody at one point, and he kept saying, well, I said, I'm sorry. Isn't that enough? I said, I'm sorry.
No, it's not
and
enough.
That's not enough. So where do you start with it?
There are 4 steps. Let's talk about them. The first of those 4 steps is so simple, but so important, which is step 1, stop. Stop the behavior.
Yeah.
If you were gossiping and you hurt someone, stop it.
Yeah.
If you have some addiction problem, stop. If you're cheating, stop. If you were texting and driving and hurt someone, put that phone in the glove compartment. Stop.
Yeah.
Step 1 is stop. It is impossible to merit forgiveness until the behavior stops.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Okay, and then
Right?
what happens right after that?
So once you've sort of stopped this behavior, then it's time to listen to the shame and the guilt that you feel. Now, here's the good news about shame and guilt. Only a good person feels shame and guilt.
So
If you don't
people with a
feel,
conscience.
yes, if you don't feel shame or guilt, you don't have a conscience. Embrace that feeling.
Yeah.
Use that feeling as incentive, as impetus to change your life in a meaningful way. Don't run away from that guilt and shame. Face it. That's the second thing. The third thing is to admit this failure out loud, to say it out loud to the person you hurt. And not, Hoda, as you said, you're right, not just to say, I'm sorry.
Right.
But to say 3 words even more difficult than I'm sorry, which are, I was wrong. And then to say it with specificity.
Yeah.
You know, to say, look, I know I've made some mistakes.
Yeah,
Or,
no.
hey, I wasn't a perfect parent.
Yeah.
That's not an apology.
Yeah.
That's evasive. Say, I am so sorry that I gossiped about you the other day when I said A, B, or C, and it came back to you. I apologize. I'm ashamed of myself. I feel terrible. And then there's step 4. So it's very important to apologize out loud with real specificity. Then we go to the 4th step, which is to put in place some scaffolding around your life. If you have an addiction problem, you're in treatment. If you have, if you're a gossip, you're going to find yourself every time you think of gossiping. Again, if you text and drive, which is a big LA thing, as Henry knows, and you hurt someone, you're going to lock that phone in the glove compartment every time. You're going to get into that 12-step program, and you're going to walk those 12 steps. You have to put some scaffolding in place so that you can look that person you hurt in the eyes and say, it will never happen again. Because if you can say that with real sincerity in your heart, and you've walked those 4 steps, you deserve to be forgiven.
Oh, my God.
Different way to look at it, isn't it?
I love right
Let me ask you a question. If it is hard to forget, you know, you go through the 4 steps and you forgive, but you don't forget. Does that not forgetting ever get in the way of that you have forgiven?
You know, it could, but it could also create a different outcome,
And that's
which is
the next time he comes and visits us. So sorry, we're almost at the end of the show.
You've got to check out
Oh,
Rabbi
I hate
Leader's
myself.
book.
Forgive me for having to
Forgive her.
Yes.
It could bring you closer together.
Today.com/shop. Grab that book.